Hey everybody, and welcome back to On the Bird, your podcast from let's start over. Your conservative podcast of Southern Oregon, where we only speak the truth, and we are going to give you some really good updates tonight about what exactly is going on in your state government. And first off, I'm going to apologize to everybody that's watching us and thank everybody for watching us, because I realize we are in the middle of the State of the Union address as well. Fortunately, we are recorded, and so is that. So I think everybody will get a chance to see both sometime or another. And trust me, I'd like to watch it too, but I don't want to skip 2 weeks in a row with you guys. So today's Tuesday, February 24th. We have a guest with us tonight, and I have Trent, my co-host. But I'm going to introduce. We'll just get right into this because we've got a lot to talk about tonight. So I want to introduce Ed Deihl, my guest. Ed, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, great to be with you, Virgil, again.
Yep.
So I am state representative for House District 17, covers East Salem through the majestic Santiam Canyon. Honored to represent that district, and I'm also running for governor.
And welcome back.
Excited to that. Yeah.
We love having you, Ed. And Ed and I, if you don't know, Ed and I work together. We're both state representatives. I'm Virgil. You're a state representative from House District 2. And Ed and I work together on a lot of stuff. We do. Ed's very conservative, and we vote very similar on just about everything we do. And it's nice to have somebody else on the House floor that you can bounce stuff off of. He's not alone. I mean, there's more than just me and Ed. But
I think there's a growing number of like-minded folks.
Yeah.
In our
and I apologize, I got a little cough tonight. Trent,
they call it the capital crud, Virgil. The capital
crud. I call it the Alec Scarlato's foam, I think. But Trent, who are you?
I'm still Trent Drake. I am the chair for the Douglas County Republican Central Committee and Virgil's campaign manager in this campaign season, and all kinds of other hats that I'm wearing for some reason. My wife said I didn't know how to say no, I guess. I don't know quite how it works.
Oh, you love it and you know it.
Yeah.
You get a hobnob with all the elected officials all the time.
I know. I know.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me. I want to real quick just talk about our sponsors, and we'll go into some commercials later. But we have Becky Holmes Insurance, Andrea Williams Advocare, and our list is continuing to grow. We have Bill Hagedorn Construction, and as of today, we also Commissioner Chris Boyce, Douglas County Commissioner Chris Boyce, is another one of our new sponsors, as well as Senator David Brock Smith from our district is also a sponsor. And I'm going to throw my business name back up there again, Twin Peaks Off-Road. We've kind of changed positions on our focus on what we're doing for business, but we're still alive and kicking. So Twin Peaks Off-Road is a major sponsor of this show. And I have to always give props to my guy Justin at Little Mill Media, who puts this thing on, makes us all look good. He's the guy behind the cameras. I'm working on the look good part right now. I don't know, but he does a great job, and he keeps us in business, and we appreciate that. Now, as again, I always say, this is a conservative podcast, so not everything we're going to say is going to be liked by the more liberal-minded folks, and we're okay with that. You can always go to a different podcast that's more liberal, or you can go down and see Justin at Little Mill Media. He'll produce one for you either way. So we thank you for joining, and honestly, I only tell the truth on this podcast. That doesn't mean I don't make mistakes, because nobody's perfect, but we talk about the cold, hard facts of what's really going on in state government. And tonight, it's a target-rich environment. I was trying to come up with some ideas to talk about tonight, and then I'm like, I have so many different things going on.
So much.
I don't even know where to start. I think what I'll start with, though, is I have a list. So I am going to start with, and Ed, I'd like you to comment on it too, but let's see. House Bill 4088 is one that was very controversial last week. We fought that bill pretty hard. And this is a bill that indemnifies doctors that are going to do gender-related surgery on children. And they can't be held accountable for it down the road if that person comes back and decides that, hey, they didn't really want that done to them when they were 15. They didn't want to have their genitals cut off. And so when they're 23, they want to go back and sue the doctor. Well, this indemnifies the doctors for being able to be liable for the work that they did. And I know this was kind of a big deal back in 23 when they passed the abortion bill, and we fought it really hard back then too. But I don't understand the kind of evil that allows that to happen to a child anyway. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds. I know Ed also fights for this stuff too, but I don't know, Ed, if you want to make some comments on it. And again, I don't want to go too far in the weeds on this. We've already lost the battle. Go ahead.
Lost the battle, but well, on the House side, it's still going to be fought on the Senate side. But yeah, this all, I got in the legislature when you did, Virgil, in 23, and I served on healthcare. And the first, right off the bat, what do? They sent us this House Bill 2002, which in part mandated quote unquote gender affirming care on minors. And I did a deep dive into the data and looked at the outcomes and talked to doctors and came to the conclusion that we should not be doing this on minors. Our job is to protect the innocents and protect children. And this was doing the opposite. It was affirming something that they believed. And most kids grow out of this, but you can't grow out of it if you start cutting body parts off them and you feed them with hormones. And so I strongly opposed it. And, since that time, there's more science that's coming out that's saying this is wrong. It's not working. It's not helping these kids. And at the federal level now, they're also making that claim. Which is great, but Oregon just simply entrenches. And House Bill 4888, like you said, 4888 is protecting and defending the doctors that are performing these procedures on kids. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
So during the House hearing on this bill on the floor, we also tried to pull a bill, and I did not write down the bill number, but it was an old bill that we had that was stuck in committee and never got out of committee. And the bill basically said this: if you do an abortion on a person and the baby is born alive, the doctor has to try life-saving tactics to try to save the baby that's born alive. Now, I'm just gonna. This is such a passionate issue with me because I was adopted. So and again, I don't want to beat this up too much, but I had an asshat. I'll just say it that way. An asshat that on social media to make a post that said, "Oh, this has never happened before. No baby's ever aborted and born alive on the table." Well, we had a guest there in the house with us on the other side of the bar, a young lady who that is exactly what happened to her. She tried to abort her, and she was born, and the doctor saved her life, and she grew up to be a good citizen or whatever.
A wonderful lady.
A wonderful lady, yeah. So it does happen, and here's my question to the Democrats: how many of those does it take to make it real? Just one person's life is saved. Isn't that enough? Does one baby not deserve to be saved, but yet another one, was okay to be saved? So again, social media sometimes is I think the death of this country. I mean, we have people who are afraid to actually sit there face to face and have a debate about something, but they're happy in the background to run off on their keyboard and anyway. So I'll leave it at that. Ed, I don't need any closing thoughts on that, or Trent.
I agree with you, Virgil. I have a hard time understanding how a bill like that could not be widely supported. It's a really simple ask. If a child is born alive, you do what it takes to keep sure that child stays alive.
Yeah.
And to deny it life-saving care is I can't fathom that.
I mean, to me, it's murder at that point, right? I mean, if you're born and you're alive and you're breathing, and then it's murder, and that makes you no better than a murderer, in my opinion. And they can argue all they want, but every single Democrat in the House voted against bringing that back.
Voted against it. Yeah. I think 80% of the Oregon people would support that bill.
Yeah, I do too. Now, I'll be called all kinds of names for putting that on my podcast, and I'll go back to my previous verse that I said at the start of the show. If you don't like this conservative podcast, we'll make a liberal one. You can have your own. Justin will make one for you, and you can talk all about abortion all day long and how great it is. I don't care.
By the way, Virgil, I meet and talk with everybody, so if they want me on that podcast, I'll be there.
There you go. There's some things I just don't bend on, and that that's one of them.
Yeah.
And everybody will come back to, well, what about rape and incest? There are issues with abortion that sometimes I think there's a reason. That isn't one of them. That is just simply murder, and I don't really care if every Democrat in the country hates me for saying it. That's just a fact. So, Trent, I'm sure you must have an opinion.
Boy, I'm right in line with you guys. I was telling you, I was just with my granddaughter, just had her 11th birthday, and there's no point where I would ever have thought that her parents would do something like that, that someone would think like that. Even my own kids, I think about it like, how can people not see when you make a decision, you're now responsible for that decision. And people don't want to be responsible for their actions. And to me, it's sad. You're a coward if you think that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that is a problem in the state. But unfortunately, it really shouldn't be a political issue. I don't feel like it is a political issue. I think it's just a basic values, standards, and moral issue. But anyway, we got lots of other stuff to talk about. So, Ed, let's talk about let's see, House Bill 4116, the 36% interest rate cap. You remember that bill?
Oh, the Unfair Trade Practices Act.
Yeah.
Yes. So, this is one of those successes. We have to celebrate the little wins that we get. But this would have taken one lending opportunity away from people with poor credit scores. And that's basically what it was going to do. And so we pushed back because the Oregon law allows certain lenders to offer loans at a pretty darn high interest rate. But who are the people that get these? Yeah, who are the people that get these? They can't get another loan anywhere else. This is like a loan of last resort. And you're not going to do that unless you really need the money. But many of the Democrats who are promoting this said, well, no, that's not being fair. They're being taken advantage of. I tell you what, no, this is their last resort. If they don't get this loan, where are they going to go? To a loan shark or something? And these weren't secured. It's not like you had to put your car or house up for collateral. And they have a really high default rate. That's why the interest rate's so high. But we were joined with a number of Democrats to kill the bill because they saw it like we did. It's denying the people who are probably the most vulnerable, the ones who really need the loan and can't get it anywhere else. It was denying them that opportunity. So I was pretty happy with that. We killed them.
Yeah, I have to say that there are a number of Democrats. I know I'm picking on Democrats tonight, but I'm going to just be honest. There are a number of Democrats in the House, and I can't speak to the Senate, but I would say that the number is probably similar. And, these guys get it, right? They know that some of the policies that they have to promote to keep their party happy with them is hurting the Oregonian people. And this was one of those things where they realized that, hey, you're taking away something that possibly could really needs to be. And they tried to reconsider it. I think if this is the right one I'm thinking of.
I'm wondering if I'm thinking of the right one. There was two of these insurance bills that were, there was a lending. I'm thinking of the insurance bill, Virgil.
Yeah, the insurance bill.
The one we killed. That's
yes, Unfair Trade Practices Act bill. Yeah, the interest rate one. You're kind of half right because I fought to keep that available option, and I don't think we won that battle. But I think it went to the Senate.
Here's why it stuck in my mind. We lost that battle, but there were some Democrat legislators that waited until the very end. They did not want to vote for that thing, and they were cussing and swearing when they voted for it.
Right.
They didn't want to, but if they didn't, things were going to happen. There's not independent thought as much over on that side of the aisle, is there, Virgil?
No, they have to toe the line, and that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. Frankly, we toe the party line, but at all costs, we vote for our people. We don't vote for our governor and only our governor's wishes. And unfortunately, on their side, they have the head bully in charge is the biggest bully on the block, and if they don't toe the line, then she hammers on them pretty hard.
Oh yeah.
So that was the interest rate cap. The insurance rate, or not insurance rate, the unlawful trade practices bill that they were trying to run through that would have put insurance agents, insurance companies into that potential would have opened up a third-party lawsuit to insurance, which would have raised rates for
Yeah.
insurers all over the state. And part of our mission in this session, for that matter, for every session, is to make Oregon more affordable. And I know that when you open somebody up, and again, I gotta say, this was in my committee, and I think are you on that committee too? I think you are. And we have a trial lawyer that's the chair of the committee, so of course he wants to be able to be more.
I'm not on that committee.
Yeah, and so there were folks, and I'll just tell you, one of them was Daniel Wynn. I mean, he owns a lot of restaurants in the Portland area, and he realized he spoke against he's a Democrat, spoke against the bill. He said, "This is going to push up my insurance rates for all of my people."
Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Rates.
Well, let me tell you what that does to me as an insurance agent. If that would have went through, the Fed has been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah.
It would have forced me to carry my errors and omissions policy, and most agents like me carry $1 million, but it would have forced it, in my opinion, between $2 and $5 million. And at retirement, I would have to carry that for the rest of my life.
Oh, sure, because of potential retro lawsuits.
Yep. And this has actually been a discussion within the industry, probably a good 10 years now. That I know that the insurance lobby has been fighting. That's one of the things that they're, vehemently against.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into another topic, and then we'll do a few commercials. And
Yeah.
I know some of the stuff we're talking about is a little minutia for a lot of people, but I know this one's not. And I'll let Ed open with this because I think we've all been involved in it. But the gun bill and the proceedings that happened prior to the thing coming to the floor, and Representative Croft abusing one of the other lawmakers. And if you're not aware of this, you obviously haven't been looking at social media, but this is kind of blowing up everywhere, and it is a big deal to me. So Ed, go ahead. I'll let you start on that one.
Well, there's so many problems with 4145. It's supposed to be a Measure 114 fix, but it's not a fix at all. I mean, it's creating a whole new slew of problems, and it might even we need to make it very clear on the floor of the House when we debate this that this in no way infringes on the lawsuit that's currently moving forward. I want to make that statement real clear on the floor. But this thing is basically turns the Second Amendment into a pay to play privilege. You're going to have to pay a fee and then go through a training program just to practice your Second Amendment right. It also bans certain size magazines, which are very, very common. I mean, I own a bunch of them. I'm sure you do, Virgil, and you do, Trent.
Yep.
Never owned a gun in my life.
Yeah.
That's a file cabinet in the back.
Yeah, it was terrible. So it's just one of those laws that it's only law-abiding people that are gonna abide by it. The criminals aren't going to abide by this law. The gang members aren't going to abide by it. It's just the honest folks that are going to go with it, and their rights are going to be infringed. So we've been working with the gun rights advocates on this thing the whole way. I gave testimony in the committee on it. But what really outraged so many of us is when it came to the vote in the committee on the amendment. It was an amendment that was proposed, and Rep. Tran voted no. She voted no. That meant that the bill was going to die. So instead of finishing the vote, Chair Croft stops the committee, stops the work session, calls a recess, takes Tran out in the hallway, and starts arm twisting. And she comes back obviously flustered after about 15 minutes or so, comes back obviously flustered. One witness thought she had tears in her eyes, comes back, and he starts the vote over. Croft starts the vote over, and Tran says, well, I thought we already voted on this. No, we're voting again. She changes her vote to yes. So a Rule 27 violation, and this is wonky stuff, but there's a harassment policy that we have as legislators in the Capitol for legislators and staff that says you can't harass people. You can't create a hostile work environment. Now, the way this thing's written, I don't care for the flipping Rule 27. It's written in a lousy way. But we had a witness who filed a Rule 27 violation on crop, and it was immediately dismissed. Immediately dismissed because the witness didn't actually stand in the hallway and see it. She saw Tran go out and then come back all distraught and obviously flustered and changed her vote. So, and then Rep. Tran puts in the, I think it was in the Oregonian, that crop created a hostile work environment. She admits it.
And it still didn't get.
And that still didn't warrant a Rule 27. And I serve on the conduct committee, and I'm not passing judgment on Chair Crop. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But if anything deserves an investigation based on Rule 27, this does. I mean, I had to go. We had Reschke, Werner Reschke, a Republican, say something on a podcast outside of session, outside of the building, a general comment that he made about religion. And that was a Rule 27 violation. It wasn't even directed at any person in the building. That was a Rule 27 violation. We spent thousands of dollars on an attorney. I had to go. I was on vacation. I had to go have a conduct committee to hear this thing. That gets a hearing. But this, where we have two reps out arm twisting, and it was clear that what happened is Crop had told Tran, hey, if you don't vote for this, I'm going to kill this bill and I'm going to kill this other bill that you like, and you better do this. It sure seemed like there were, in fact, that's what I've heard. There was some threats and intimidation going on.
There was, and also there were witnesses.
Some of his own colleagues call him a bully. So
yeah. There was a witness. There was an Oregon State trooper that was that actually witnessed what happened, and he had said privately that he was about ready to step into the middle of it if it got any worse. So clearly, what was going on was wrong. Now, since that day, and if you watch what happened on the House floor earlier this week, we pretty much put the whole entire floor into neutral, and we're like, we want Croft taken off of conduct committee. We'd like to see him taken off of everything, but we want him off of the conduct committee. Well, the speaker immediately came to the defense of Representative Croft and said he didn't do anything wrong, and we called BS on it, and we said that's fine. Then we are going to leave. If that's how you're going to handle hostile workplace claims, you're not going to even hear it when it's a Republican or when it's Democrat. Then we don't really want to work with you. So we left the building. But prior to that, Representative Croft finally resigned. But we as a Republican Party on the floor were going to make the motion to have him removed from the committee. They found a loophole in the Masons manual that allowed him to get out without any kind of scrutiny or any kind of explaining what happened. No, it wasn't debatable. We couldn't say anything on the floor. So, ultimately, yes, we won. He's not there anymore. But on the other hand, he just got away with it. So, I don't have a personal opinion necessarily toward him, but what happened isn't right. And it makes me wonder if when the day comes that I end up in that situation with some ridiculous Rule 27 claim against me for whatever, because I'm a Republican, does that mean I get beat up a little bit harder? Probably.
I really feel that if that was a Republican, that we would be having a conduct committee hearing coming up soon. It doesn't feel like it's fair. And also I think that this is the mode of operation that I've seen in the building. What happened is not uncommon. What made it exceptional, it was a white male and a protected class female. And that is what made it unique. But
Yeah, and that alone could be enough for an investigation.
Yeah, but this kind of strong arming goes on all the time in that party, all the time.
Yeah, it does. That's
why
and you know, that's one of those things that people who aren't really in the building, you don't see it. And a lot of that, you know, on the House floor, I watched Ricky Ruiz, who's a Democrat, vote yes on his own bill that the Democrat Party wanted to kill because it was something Bill pulled to the floor. Bill pulled it to vote yes on. It was a great bill. I think it might have been the one that put a resource officer in every school or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he voted yes on it. And the speaker at the time came. It wasn't the speaker either. It was Faye. She was the leader, the majority party leader. Literally made him change his vote. Stood in front of his desk and made him vote no on his own bill. And
before they brought the gavel down.
Yeah.
And otherwise, that bill would have been pulled to the floor, and we would have debated it.
Yep.
So he killed his own bill.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not going to tell you the Republican Party's perfect, but there's some things that we just don't do to our colleagues, and I can't imagine somebody trying to strong arm me into changing my vote on a bill and being able to walk away from it. Let's put it that way.
It feels more like it doesn't feel democratic in here all the time, Virgil. And that those kind of maneuvers are way more about power than they are about policy or principle. It's about power.
Yeah.
Whatever they need to do to maintain power. And it's that kind of behavior, Virgil, and that's one of the reasons I'm running for governor, is I see bills go through here all the time. And I was just interviewed on the news here earlier today. I see bills go through here all the time that I know are unpopular with Oregonians. And I also see bills that are popular that I know would be very popular with Oregonians that never see the light of day. You and I have brought some of them.
Yes, we have.
Today, much less voted on.
Yeah.
And
I could think of one about foreign and adversarial countries buying land in Oregon.
That's exactly the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. And it got killed because it was Ed and Virgil's bill. It got killed.
I haven't met anybody that wants foreign adversaries to own Oregon land, but yet we couldn't even get a hearing. We could not even get a hearing on that bill. But it's one thing after another. And so that's not how it's supposed to work, but that's how it works if you have 40 years of one party rule. That's how it works.
We need change. There's no question that we need change in the House. And I want Ed to talk a little bit about his campaign here in just a minute, but I want to cover a couple of sponsors and talk about a few people that I'm really thankful for. And before I get into the sponsors, I want to talk about Derek LeBlanc. I don't know if he's watching tonight or not, but hey,
Derek, if
you're watching, hey, Derek. Derek has been instrumental in keeping the pressure on this gun bill issue, and also on the crop issue. He's sorry, my dog is barking at Alex Scarlato's background. Anyway, Derek is in the stands. He's on the third floor looking at us. He's taking pictures. He's running social media stuff for us. If we ever ask for a fighter for your gun rights, a real true fighter for your gun rights, I'm not talking about a guy that sits back and talks and writes crap on the internet. I'm talking about Derek. Derek fights hard for your Second Amendment rights, and I am so thankful to have him, as part of our team. Obviously, he's not elected, but he's a great person to have with us. So I want to.
He's been great, and it really helps to have a Second Amendment advocate like that's in the building and working with us, and I really appreciate him.
Yeah, if nothing else, sometimes he can point out he gets information behind the scenes that we don't necessarily get, and he can bring it to us. So it's really good to have him. A couple of other people I want to really thank. I want to thank Commissioner Chris Boyce for joining our team here at the podcast. He's not on tonight, but he's joined on a monthly basis, and I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from him as well. I see Commissioner Tim Freeman is watching. We appreciate him as well. I don't know if Commissioner Tom Kress watches this podcast or not, but I want to just thank those guys for everything they do, and we're supporting them, of course. And I know it's not an easy job because, listen, I've been part of the target myself. which brings me to a story, but I'll hold that for a minute. Anyway, and with that, I want to thank also our major dollar sponsors, and one is Becky Holmes, and I actually have a little blurb that I want to read for her. Becky Holmes gave me this ad, and it says, are you still getting Medicare calls? They're relentless. They claim that they can get you the moon and the stars, but can they? Most likely not. Just like anything else, if it's too good to be true, find someone trustworthy like Becky Holmes to expound on your trustworthiness. I'm sorry, not to expound on it. I'm supposed to expound on it. I'm a little sick tonight, guys. Sorry.
You got some work to do, Virgil, on your promo.
If you've moved or turning 65 or just have questions about Medicare, Marketplace, or any of other ins, call Becky, your trusted insurance lady. I'm going to quit reading this stuff. I'm not very good at it, but I'll just tell you, Becky Holmes is a great insurance agent. I call her often for questions that I have. Becky Holmes, 541-900-6001, 541-900-6001. She's going to beat me up tonight, I'm sure, after the podcast because I biffed her ad so bad. But I'm thankful for her. And also, she's part of the Optimist Club, which I just went and spoke with Senator Brock Smith and Representative Corp Boyce last week. So thank you, Becky, for everything you do. Also, another one. This one's easy. This is Andrea Williams Advocare, a small business owner here in Douglas County. We know how it goes. Long days, too much caffeine, and not enough sleep. In your New Year's resolutions, I've already slipped away. Give yourself some grace. February is better time to reset anyway. Now we're almost to March. Find Andrea Williams Advocare distributor on Facebook and reach out. She'll help you get back on track in a realistic way, or visit her website, healthyhabittribe.org, healthyhabittribe.org. Listen, I use a product. I'm actually behind on a product, but I do use it. Great product, great lady, a wonderful supporter. And Trent, I know you use the product as well.
Oh yeah, I've used it for years and years.
And for us, I realize we're advertising for our sponsors, but we only allow sponsors on this podcast that we actually trust and know and verify. So we're not just going to take dollars from anybody. This podcast isn't free; it costs us money every week, and that's fine. But when we tell you somebody's good, it's we're not faking it. Trent, I know you have a contractor that we love. I think you probably have an ad for him.
I do. So it's my friend Bill Hagedorn Construction. For all your construction needs, new additions, remodels, decks, fencing and flooring, and tile work, we have you covered. If we can't do it, we'll find someone who can. Check us out on Facebook and see some of our work today. Bill Hagedorn Construction, 541-817-3704.
Thank you, sir. And I will vouch for Bill as well.
Yep.
Again, Senator Brock Smith is also a major sponsor of the show. I think I already mentioned his name, but he's actually, I had a ticket to go to the tonight, the presidential, what do you call it? The State of the Union address. And I had other obligations, so I gave my ticket to Senator Brock Smith. So he's actually in Washington, D.C. right now. In fact, probably, if you get lucky, you might even see him on TV. So I think it's pretty cool that we have a representative there from Oregon, and he's watching that. So if he sees this podcast, he may well be watching his cell phone, because all of us legislators are really good at multitasking when it comes to that stuff. So David, safe travels. Hope you're doing well. I know he left the house this morning at 5 o'clock this morning because he woke me up when he left. So I hope you're doing well. I think that covers all of our sponsors for now. Of course, Twin Peaks Off-Road, my business, is another major sponsor as well. We'll always keep doing that. I'll just always be part of this. And with that, I want to move on to, we could talk about bills all night. People, I think, get bored with it. But there's one more bill I do want to talk about. And then I want to go into a little bit about Ed Deihl and what he promises to bring to the Capitol when he's elected for governor. But the last bill I want to talk about is Senate Bill 1507, and that's the disconnect bill. And yeah. I feel like people don't have any idea what this even means, because it's such a complicated issue. But what it means is you're going to get screwed, because in short, it means you're going to get screwed, because our governor has decided that just because Donald Trump, I would say Donald Trump, I'll say the Trump administration has decided to give you a tax break, she has decided that it's more important to her to keep that money in Oregon and not give it to the people who actually earn it. And there were some things that were carved out in the Senate Bill 1507. One of them was, I believe, they're not going to tax your overtime up to a certain amount. They're not going to tax your tips up to a certain amount. But one of the real important things that this bill would have brought was the ability for not only to write off the interest rate on your car loan, but also to claim your losses or your on your investments. So, like if you're a farmer and you go out and you buy new equipment, you were able to write that off. I think actually you write it off in 1 year, as opposed to letting it go out over 5 or whatever.
It was an accelerated depreciation, and a lot of businesses had already made investments anticipating taking advantage of that.
Yeah, which is a great move for business. Business literally would have thrived because of that bill. And right now, your House Democrats and soon to be your House, I'm sorry, your Senate Democrats and your House Democrats will try to kill that. I think we're up for that fight tomorrow or the next day. Now, we're going to fight like hell to make Oregon more livable. But again, I don't understand why they do these things. It doesn't make any sense for the population of Oregon, but I guess it makes a lot of sense for their pet projects because they get to keep their money that they wanted to take out of your pocket anyway. And Ed, why don't you tell us some thoughts on that, and then after that, we'll give you the rest of the show. Let's talk about Ed Deihl and what he is going to bring to and I want to know what color drapes you're going to put in the governor's office.
Yeah,
I know you were down there measuring them.
I was down there measuring. They're pretty big doors in there, so yeah, I didn't get a chance to see the windows yet, but no, this disconnect is really something else. And so people understand our state tax code is connected to the federal tax code in a lot of respects. So if the feds reduce, say there's no tax on tips, the state doesn't tax tips on your state taxes. If the feds say we're not going to tax overtime, the state doesn't tax overtime. So we've been connected for a long time. And what happened with HR 1, when Congress passed that, that resulted for Oregonians in I believe, an $888 million tax break for Oregonians over the next budget cycle. I think that's right. But our governor saw that and says, "Oh my God, that's an $888 million revenue hit, and I've got this big bloated state budget, and I can't afford that." So they're doing everything they can to claw that back. And they picked basically 3 areas. There's one area around stocks. There's an area around car loans. If you buy a car, a U.S. made car, you can write off your interest on that car. The Democrats want to take that back. Apparently it's only billionaires that get car loans, right? And then the big one was the depreciation. I have heard from so many businesses, these are small to medium-sized businesses, guys. These are not billionaires doing this. These are a lot of people you see and talk to every day that are taking advantage of this and investing. They're investing in Oregon because they knew they were getting these tax breaks, and it's being clawed back from them. These are tax breaks that were put in place in 2025. They're already in place.
Yeah.
So this is a $311 million tax increase this budget cycle, about $1 billion over the next 6 years. And unfortunately, the legislature doesn't consider it a tax increase by the rules we have. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's outrageous. We're going to try and kill it. Virgil, we may just refer this one. We'll fire up the No Tax Oregon machine, and we can refer this bill. So I think we need to keep that on the table.
Yeah, and I think that the governor better be afraid when you say that you're going to refer something, because I think you did it once before, and it only took 10 days to get the number of signatures to do it.
Yeah.
So
we'll do it again. We got some people, and this one will fire people up.
Yep.
Yeah, what better way to run for governor than actually do something that makes sense for the people of Oregon, right?
Yeah.
So this is all Trump's big beautiful bill, HR 1. they have worked overtime to kill this thing. I forgot one that happened on the floor today because there's been so much going on, was that TLT tax. And I don't want to beat up too many people on this because I think there's some good reasoning behind the TLT tax increase. But this TLT tax increase will do a couple of things. And this was on purpose. They crafted this bill so that rural Republicans would want to vote for it, but it's still a tax increase. And that is, they added in the wolf depredation, well, not wolf depredation, but reparation, when a wolf kills your livestock. They added some of that into the TLT tax. Also, the fire mitigation part was in addition to that, well, for wildfire, albeit that was a really small part. I think it was only like $3 million. And when the lobbyists come and spoke with me about it, I'm like, well, so what are you gonna do with $3 million? That's nothing. I mean, that isn't going to amount to anything, but you're still increasing taxes by 1.25%. If you don't know what TLT stands for, it's the transient lodging tax, and hotels and motels charge for that. And right now, I think the current TLT tax is, I don't even know what the percentage is. Is it 10%, Ed?
I don't think it's that high. I don't remember what it is, but I don't think
it might be like 3%. It's not, yeah, you're right. It's not that high, but they want to add to that so that they can cover other things. My argument on the floor was this: if we need $3 million to cover the price of a livestock getting eaten by a wolf or killed by a wolf, we just gave $10 million last year to the James Baird Center in Portland to try to repair an old building and turn it into a great flea market with some restaurants inside, right? 10 million state dollars went to spend on that. Mm-hmm. And it's $15 million over budget, and process is halted right now. So the state's not getting paid back the 10 million that we pissed away. And, so here we go again, just one more reason they're going to tax us, and they're never going to get that money back. So I like to call BS on these kind of things, and I called BS pretty hard on it on the floor today. We fought it for quite a while. It made it through the House. I don't know if it'll get through the Senate or not. I'm hoping the Senate kills it, honestly. We don't need to make it harder to recreate in Oregon.
Yeah, the problem is I have a lot of sympathy for the ranchers who are dealing with, and I was focused today in my testimony on the wolf situation. I mean, the fact that we allow these predators, and we've got a lot of them over there, and they are decimating herds, sheep herds, cattle. It's costing these ranchers a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's not just like you lose one animal. If you lose a mama cow, now you have a calf that's struggling, and that calf has trouble with weight gain. So it's kind of it compounds the issue, compounds itself. And so I'm really sympathetic to that. But here's the problem: they need a little bit of money. First off, what we really should do is make it so we don't have this predator problem.
Yeah, I agree.
Right,
fix the problem to start with.
Yeah. If we do, then okay, let's compensate the ranchers. Well, they hold us hostage. The Democrat leaderships hold us hostage. Say, if you want more money for that, you have to come up with a new funding source. You have to come up with a new tax. Oh, by the way, I'm going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on a homeless problem that never gets any better. I'm going to do the example I used is we have the Moda Center. We're going to give a big financial incentive to one particular billionaire, give him a huge financial incentive there, hundreds of millions of dollars that we're going to pull from the general fund to support that. But we can't come up with $3 million for our ranchers. These are fifth generation folks. We can't come up with some money for them for wolf deprivation. To me, it's just outrageous, and I cannot, in good conscience, ask the Oregon people to put up with another tax when I see their money being wasted in so many other places.
Well, Ed, I don't think that people realize how bad the wolf problem is. I hunt the other side of the mountain, because hunting this side of the mountain where we're at on the west side of the Cascades became problematic because wolves and fires chased the herds off. So I started hunting the other side of the mountain. Well, in the last 2 years, I'm tracking more wolves than I am elk. And we're seeing more, and that's, and I've got the pictures and the tracks to prove it.
Yeah.
And it's so, and they're getting closer and closer to rural areas where there's families, and
I know.
It's getting spooky.
So that's why the right solution is not to compensate ranchers for losses. We have to control the wolf population.
Yeah,
it is out of control.
Yep.
And it's not only devastating sheep and cattle; it's devastating game populations as well.
Yeah.
So,
the elk and the deer are really suffering. Yeah. Well, listen, we got about 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I want you to have a chance to speak a little bit about yourself, because
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us about Ed Deihl, and give us some idea of what Ed's planning on doing to correct our screwed up.
Well, a lot of people know me through my work as a legislator. I came on with Virgil did in 2023. And you know me as I led the volunteer team on the Snow Tax Oregon referendum. It was an honor to do that. And we pulled off, I think, a miracle in about 38 days, 250,000 signatures. But my background is in engineering and business. So I grew up on a cattle ranch. My dad was a truck driver and a logger, and I was good academically. So I got into a great school, and I studied engineering. I got a bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering at Stanford. The best thing about Stanford was I met my wife there. And
she is the same. I met her.
Yeah. Very patient woman. But we met, and for me, it was love at first sight. For her, it took a little while, but we figured it out. And so we, after graduation, we moved to Oregon, and she grew up in Scio. I'd grown up in Western Montana, but I was more than happy to move to Oregon because I could do my engineering, my geeky stuff, which I love to do, in a beautiful state. And so after a few years, we moved to where we are now in Scio, and we raised our kids there. I got two kids, a boy and a girl, and then 3 grandkids, and they're all awesome. But what I did for business is I leveraged my engineering degrees and built a business that did what's called factory automation and control systems. So we would go into all sorts of factories, most of them in the United States, and we would put the computer systems on the on the machines that would automate those machines, do the operator interfaces. Basically, it was all geared around making these factories more efficient and more effective at producing stuff. I believe firmly we need to be a country that makes stuff. We can't just be the country that thinks of the cool ideas and ship it somewhere else to be made. We need to be the country that makes stuff. It's not only for national security, it's about jobs. We need good blue collar jobs. We need good white collar jobs. So manufacturing is something I'm very passionate about. And I did a lot of work in the wood products industry. So a lot of sawmill work, and that's kind of in my family background too. And working, my grandpa was a sawmiller, in addition to my dad being a logger. So that's my background. And I built that business up with my wife and 2 business partners, up to about 100 employees. Those were good, living wage jobs. You could support a family on almost every one of those wages. And I'm very, very proud of the work that we did there. And let
me interrupt you for 1 second, Ed. I want to give everybody that's watching a chance. We don't have a lot of time left, but you do have some time if you have questions for Ed and you want to post them in the comments, we'll try to address them. One of the things that I see is posted is if you have any prior service. I'm assuming that means military, which you weren't in the military.
I was not in the military. My son was in the military. He served in the 82nd Airborne. He jumped out of some planes with a parachute that I wouldn't have strapped on my back, but he did it. Very proud of him. I jumped out of one airplane before on a tandem jump, but yeah. So my son served, but I did not serve. Yep.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to jump out of any airplanes either.
I don't even jump off the ground.
One of the things, obviously there's a lot of good governor candidates. I don't think any of the candidates running on the Republican side, I don't think any of them are bad necessarily, but I do. One of the things that I admire about Ed is that I know Ed, and we've spent a lot of time together working on, you name it. I mean, bills. We're in committee together. Ed was the vice chair of economic development, and small business, and he has that the biver about him, I guess you call it, to do what's right. And it's not always easy in the House to fight the battle against people who have no clue about business. And I think it's really nice that Ed has. I mean, he's signed the front side of paychecks before. He understands how business works, and those are important things to me. I also believe that it's important to have prior. I don't want to call it politics, but political service, or whether it be volunteer service in committees or whatever it is. I think it's important to understand how things work. And I will tell you, and I'll let Ed comment to this, but I think your first year in the House, after you're elected, you spend the first year just trying to figure out what the hell's going on, especially the first long session.
Yeah. I figure I've been in here long enough to see what's broken, but it hasn't broken me yet. That's what I tell people. But I really feel my background is unique in the whole field, because I have that engineering and business background. When we built our business, we bootstrapped it. I sold a car. I leveraged my credit cards. I put my house on the line. I had 2 young kids. I put my house on the line. That's the only collateral I had. And I took that risk, but it was worth it because I wanted to build something. And we did. We built something with my colleagues, my wife, and it's a great team. But I come at it with that perspective. I have signed both sides of a paycheck. I understand how private business works. I understand what entrepreneurs go through and the risks they take. And I want to have an Oregon that lets them thrive. That's what I want. Lets everyone thrive. So what I see, my whole campaign is built about what my vision for Oregon is. We live in the most beautiful state in the country. We do. But what good is that if I can't afford to live here?
Yeah.
What good is that if my kids can't get an education? What good is that if my streets aren't safe? So what my vision for Oregon is not only the most beautiful state in the country, but the greatest state in America to live, work, raise your family, and retire. That is it for families, and seniors, young adults. That's what I want to see. And I think, what's that, Virgil?
I said House District 2, the most beautiful district in the state.
Yeah. Right next to House District 1.
But we have a government that has a severe accountability problem, and you see it in every agency. We have a state budget that's doubled in 10 years. You can't explain even half of that with inflation and population growth. We have an affordability problem in this state. And we also have really just an anti-business climate. And so those are the 3 main areas that I want to tackle. And I believe I'm in a really unique position to do that because of my background and experience.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for you. Number one is from a really good friend of mine, Mark Tucker, is watching. And his question is, how do you feel about sanctuary cities? And I have another question right behind that. So you can give us a quick thought on that.
Yeah, absolutely. The sanctuary thing comes up all the time, and the discussions about ICE. And I'll tell you, it's pretty simple for me. As governor, I will not be protecting gang members and prostitution ringleaders and child traffickers. We will be cooperating with the federal government to get people who are committing criminal acts in our state out of our state. It's as simple as that. As governor, my job when it comes to law enforcement is safe streets. So, and keeping crime down. So where we went off the rails is when Kate Brown issued an executive order in 2017 that really made this hard line where law enforcement could no longer even cooperate with the feds. Do you know that an illegal immigrant can come to Oregon, murder someone, flee to Mexico, and we don't have the ability to extradite them to bring them back to justice?
Yeah.
That is because of a Kate Brown executive order that was turned into the Sanctuary Promise Act in 2021.
It makes me sick to my stomach. Ed,
Yeah.
I have another question. This came from Annette Perkins, and and you kind of answered this, but how do you plan on bringing businesses back to Oregon?
Well, one big thing is I want to lower taxes by 10%. Okay. That'll be a combination of income taxes, cat tax. We'll figure out what works best and what we can do, but I know we can eliminate taxes by 10%. We can also cut spending by 10%. The other thing we do is we do a lousy job with getting permits approved. So as governor, what I would do is we will streamline the permitting process. We will have a permitting dashboard. We will make it clear that every agency will have deadlines for permits. If they miss the deadline, they will not be able to collect a fee. The other thing is if there are permitting delays for projects, those projects end up on my desk. This is what other states do. This isn't what Oregon does, though. Those projects will end up on my desk with my attention to figure out what we need to do. We will have agencies like the DEQ that will be directed to get to a yes. How do we get to a yes? That doesn't mean we're going to sacrifice clean air and clean water. It means how do we get to a yes to make sure we have clean air and clean water with reasonable standards, but yet face the fact that we have to have an economy with good paying jobs so we can pay for all these things that we want to pay for. So the other thing is we have regulation upon regulation on Oregon businesses that is driving them out of the state. I will work to repeal that legislation, and I will be there to be a block if we have bad business bills coming out of the legislature. They will face a veto.
And Ed, I don't want to go too far on this one because I got a couple more questions before we go.
Yeah, go for it.
I do want to say this. I've heard you argue those things in committee and on the floor, so I know that you feel that way. It's not made up just to win an election. And the other thing you said that I really like was argue to get to a yes. One of the things I love about our county commissioners, and I'm talking about all three of them, especially the ones that have been there the longest, but all three of them, when there's a problem and you're trying to get through it in our county, they will argue. Well, they won't argue. They will find a way to get to a yes. That may mean some compromises on both, but they never just crap on business. Like, you want to do this, we'll find a way to get to a yes. You might have to do this, you might have to do that, but yes is the ultimate goal. Ross Van Houten also asked, if you are a governor, and reminds me of your upside down speech, but if you're the governor and you're a Republican governor in a House and a Senate full of Democrats, how will you handle that?
Well, here's what I've seen. There are a number of Democrats that, especially when it comes to business issues, are pretty moderate. A number of them agree with our take on many things, and but they take votes against their own wishes, frankly, because they're pressured to. So there's two things that I will do. One, well, I'll put it this way: when I'm elected governor, that will be an earthquake across the state, because it'll be 4 decades to the inauguration day that we have had since we've had a Republican in the state of Oregon, running the state of Oregon. That is a mandate in and of itself, even if it's just a few percentage points victory. So I will be setting the agenda for the state based on that victory. So I will be working with the legislature, Democrats and Republicans, to figure out how we accomplish that agenda that they elected me to do. I will look to form alliances between Republicans and those moderate Democrats to figure out how we can get good, for example, good business legislation across. In fact, the other thing to think about is it's a success if we just stop bad legislation. Most of the businesses in Oregon come to me and just say, give me a break.
Just don't do anything.
Just take a year off and let me catch up with all the regulation that you just crammed down my throat. So that's the other power is the veto power, and line item veto power. So I have no problem saying that we can accomplish great things, even if the legislature does not get more balanced.
Yeah, frankly, I think the legislature would be happy to work with you, Ed. We already all work together, and I think that you're right. The moderate Ds.
I know I have relationships on both sides of the aisle, and I try. I don't make them personal. It's about policy. And I look to find common ground on everything. I will battle one rep, Deihl, on a bad bill, and then I will co-chief with them on another bill. I'm co-chiefing a good small town grants bill with Senator Manning. I don't agree with Senator Manning on a lot of stuff, but we agree on this one, and we're.
I did see that today, actually. So listen, we're coming down to the end of our time, and I always wish we could go longer, but we have to get off this thing and go watch the rest of the State of the Union address, I'm sure. But
they're off the floor of the House, by the way, Virgil. They're done.
Yeah, I saw that. Representative Scarlatos came home a little bit ago. My dog was barking at it, so. So with that, Ed, I want you to just a couple of minutes to close real quick. If you have anything you want to close with.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that I'm in this to win it. I've turned my life upside down, and I'm in this because I do see a path to victory. I'm committed to having the largest Republican turnout that we've had in decades. And I'm also committed, after I get through the primary, to carry that through to the general election. And I'm committed to work Portland and these areas harder than anybody's ever worked on, to reach across the aisle and find that common ground with moderate Democrats who frankly had it with the direction of the state. I'm talking to them right now, Virgil.
Yeah.
They've had it. They're looking for a reason to vote another way. I'm going to give them that reason. And I think it has to do with my engineering background and my business background. I think I can make some connections there that we have not been able to make before. I'm in this, and I'm committed, and we're going to do it with your help.
I think it's awesome, and I hate to ask you one more question, but this one's so damn close to home. Comes in from Eric Lindquist, and he says he was born here 57 years ago, whatever. He says, "How will you bring back the logging industry?" Keep it short, but I know that's a good question.
This is an industry that's so passionate with me. We had a booth at the logging conference.
Yeah.
This last weekend, which was a lot of fun. We made so many great connections, and I'm so connected with this. To me, it starts with it's active forest management. We have to actively manage our forests. A healthy forest is one that is producing timber. We create jobs, we create revenue. We have a beautiful forest for recreation, and it's better for the environment. There's that balance. It's out of balance. As a governor, I appoint the Board of Forestry.
Yep.
So that means that the Habitat Conservation Plan looks completely different than it does today. I will also be cooperating with the federal government. The federal government now is looking at maximizing timber harvests on BLM land. That is great. And the reason I get passionate about this, Virgil, is I grew up in this business. I know. My grandpa had Deihl Lumber Company. And then I spent a lot of my career in this business. The people, I hear, oh, you guys just want to cut down the trees. Bull crap. We don't want to cut down all the trees. We want a healthy forest for my generation and the next one and the next one. We live in these forests. We love these forests. We're the ones that want to take care of them.
Yeah.
And so when we shut these things down and let them burn and let these fuels build up, it's outrageous. It does not have to be that way.
Listen, I'd rather build houses out of those trees than breathe the smoke from.
Yeah, I want to build Oregon homes with Oregon lumber. Exactly. Yeah.
Amen to that. Trent, I'm going to close here real quick. Do you got anything you want to add before we close? I think we have an event or two coming up, don't we?
Well, let's see. We'll have a booth this weekend at the Home and Garden Show. We have in June our annual big barbecue, and it's going to be the All American Barbecue, celebrating 250 years as United States of America. And Ed, you will be cordially invited to speak at that.
All right. Have I been invited yet?
No, you are.
Okay.
I'm the guy that can do that.
All right. My date calendar is filling up rapidly, Trent. I
So
want to
put that on your gig
I want
calendar.
to make sure you're on the list. What day is it?
That's Saturday, June 27th.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'll be full steam ahead in the general election by
There
then.
you go.
All right.
So anyway, a lot of things happening. I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me wanting to understand what a PCP is, a political committee person. Please continue to reach out. We need your help to turn this state red. And that's a great way to start. It only takes a couple meetings a year to help us, and then with various little events that we do during the course of the year. Our job as a central committee is to help Representative Deihl and Representative Osborne get support and build our voter base. So if you're out there and you want to do that, please contact me, either if you have my phone number or message me on Facebook anytime.
Thanks, Trent. And thanks for co-hosting tonight again, Trent, as always. Yeah. Real quick, I just want to go over the sponsors since I did such a horrible job on that a few minutes ago. I should let somebody else do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Becky Holmes Insurance, Andrea Williams Advocare, Bill Hagedorn Construction, Commissioner Chris Boyce, Douglas County Commissioner Chris Boyce, State Senator David Brock Smith, Twin Peaks Off-Road, and I always list Little Mill Media as one of our sponsors because they are the people that make this thing happen, and we do appreciate them. With that, we also are available on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and about 13 other different platforms. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we're probably there, and that's On the Verge, and that's spelt with like my name, VIRG, so On the Verge. Please go on there, follow us, stay with us. We're reaching a little over 1 million people with our podcast, which is amazing. And we want to keep up the conservative message, especially not only just Southern Oregon. We want this thing, I go all over Oregon and I get people all the time that I've never seen before. And they say, hey, we watch your podcast, keep up the good work. So you guys are part of this, and thank you both. Thank you, Ed, for coming on. Thank you for hosting.
Trent.
Absolutely.
Justin, he's quiet there, but he's a master of ceremonies.
He is. Yeah, thanks, Justin. You're in the background.
Hey, I got recognized as that other guy on Verge's podcast the other day. That other guy, yeah. No, okay, it's a start.
You're a celebrity now.
Yeah.
I mean, the history of this podcast, a little over a year ago, we started this thing at Looking Glass Brewery. We were sitting there having as most of my stories start with Trent. We were having a beer, and we were with Phil Morton. And I said to Trent and I were saying, hey, we need to start a podcast. And I don't remember which one of us said we need to come up with a name. And Phil looks at me and says, how about On the Verge? And it stuck. And that's where we're at from there. So
Great.
we do that.
I'm still not sure what you're on the verge of.
I don't either.
Red wave.
Hopefully not disaster. But anyway, guys, with that, have a good night. Thanks for joining us. And we'll see you in a week. And have a great week. Thanks.
You bet. See y'all. Bye.
See ya.
All right.